मौका था.
Okay, we are live.
Wait, Sajeet, we are live.
क्या कर live?
Yes.
Okay, very good.
Welcome guys to Bulls Pair and Banter. That banter can continue, but markets have.
हम बारिश की बात कर रहे थे, मुंबई की बारिश.
Yes. कल मैं बैंटर कर रहा था सजीत के साथ. My wife Alpha saw this thing and she said, "Are you being very rude to Sajeet?" मैंने बोला नहीं यार ये होते रहता है
ये तो हमारा होता ही. पर कल सर सेल्समैन बने और लोगों को बहुत पसंद आया. सर आज क्या बेच रहे हो बताओ.
आप क्या खरीदने को तैयार नहीं हो वो बेचने को. If you are not buying the index, he is selling the index to you.
एसी से शुरू करते हैं. एसी बेचेंगे सर आज.
एसी बेच सकते हैं.
मैडम को खुश करने के लिए हम एसी बेचेंगे.
नहीं यार फिलहाल द वेदर ऑन बॉम्बे इज सो कूल कि रात को एसी की जरूरत नहीं है.
That's true.
राइट नाउ द वेदर इज स्टुपेंडस. मतलब टुडे वाज
हम
फ्राइडे.
बाहर दिखा सके तो ऐसा लगता है कि अंधेरा छा गया.
By Saturday, by Friday, Saturday, no?
नहीं टुडे वाज फ्राइडे. टुडे
Sleeping.
इवनिंग I would have gone to Lonavala.
अच्छा.
I would have gone to Lonavala. This is the best time.
Yeah.
What weather this is. But it is
सर
also
ऐसा मत बोलना
difficult
कि
for
होटल है उधर शॉप्स उधर जो फुल हो जाएंगे.
क्लब महिंद्रा है.
हाँ
मेरा
क्लब
बहुत है.
Club Mahindra
है.
is-
I think
It
Hilton.
has a very good property near Pavna Lake.
Yeah, Hilton has a good one. And that those famous bungalows.
Yeah.
I couldn't afford any of those, but I went to an Airbnb next to Pavna, by the way, and beautiful this last weekend.
उन्होंने पूरा विला ले लिया.
There was
He couldn't afford to पूरा विला ले लिया.
had to bring in more rich friends. But anyway, yeah, so beautiful. But yeah, Pavna is huge. So essentially, you can be at any part of Pavna and still have very good views. So yes.
But markets are very quiet, I would say. Only Reliance is very active.
As this morning as well. If Reliance was not there, then the market would have had a flat
Fall.
fall.
Fall,
actually,
fall,
because
fall.
it would have negated the others.
And that's only because of the tariff, right? Which geo tariff which came in.
The tariffs and Sajeet, you know this better, so I'm asking. Yeah, this clearing the decks for a potential geo and a retail IPO because what size wala SEBI ne jo rules relax kiye.
Yeah, you know,
is that a big trigger?
I'm little, I'm in a camp which believes that a demerger would be much more beneficial for the shareholders of Reliance Industries versus an IPO.
Why so?
Because Reliance, the moment you put an IPO, Reliance will start trading at a discount. Holding company discount will start coming into Reliance. And if, Reliance holds around 67% in Geo payments.
और just for clarity for viewers, IPO में investors को Reliance shareholders को share नहीं मिलेगा.
अगर कोटा होगा तो मिलेगा.
नहीं, एप्लीकेशन के लिए नहीं बोल रहा हूँ. ऑटोमेटिक
नहीं मिलेंगे.
shares
नहीं मिलेंगे.
तो डीमर्जर में मिलते हैं.
डीमर्जर में मिलेंगे. जैसे जियो
So then the only way to hold it, is either you buy directly the shares of
which
Jio,
is an incremental
or
capital.
then you indirectly hold it through Reliance. But the sense seems to be that the way they've done Jio Financial Services, you'll do something very similar, and it makes sense because rather than having a holdco and then cleaning up the structure at a later point in time, do it now. No, I mean it's a far cleaner way of doing things.
Also because of the fact that they would want to clear the ownership. You reckon?
I think that way, I think Mukesh Ambani has already planned it very well.
नहीं, but अगर
that happened around 6 years back.
हाँ, but तो फिर shareholding को एक जगह पे merge करने के बाद
अलग-अलग हाँ वो होगा.
So that's why they
and
might
it also creates wealth in that sense.
अच्छा,
right?
so you are saying that the demerger is a far cleaner one, but फिलहाल the stock is up because
of the
if
tariff.
SEBI has done this.
So
नहीं sir, tariff, the Jio का
only
rates.
Jio rates.
Jio rates, 1 GB.
Jio rates.
1 GB being done away with.
See, SEBI has done this. Of course, Jio and retail are the biggest beneficiary. If Tata Sons tomorrow RBI comes and says, "No, you have to list," then Tata Sons also becomes a beneficiary of it. But इन तीन के अलावा और किसी के लिए नहीं है ये आज के डेट में. कोई और कंपनी नहीं जो 5 लाख करोड़ के ऊपर है.
और जिसका सब्सिडरी का IPO है.
जिसका सब्सिडी का वैल्यू 5 लाख करोड़ है. Let me put it this way. In that sense. तो ऐसा कोई कंपनी है नहीं. So these are the three entities which are there. And I think इसके अलावा 2 और कंपनी जो हैं जो 1-1 लाख करोड़ के ऊपर होंगी. वो एक होगा टाटा कैपिटल which is already coming at the end of August. Tata Capital IPO which will be there. And I think there could be a Reliance Consumer Products Limited which is the FMCG arm of Reliance Retail, which has been now demerged. And now Reliance Industry has owns that, and not retail owns. It's a transfer of assets that happened. So it's again a clean thing. So again, वहाँ पर भी 83% is held by Reliance, and remaining 17 is been held by investors of Reliance Retail Ventures, which is there. So the thing is that yes, everyone is talking about an IPO. IPO good. I don't think these companies require so much of cash. Neither retail. Retail may require some bit of cash, working capital, and other stuff. But last 2 years back, they did a raise at $100 billion. Now the valuation is around 70 to $80 billion. For the valuation is fallen for retail. But I think demerger was a clear thing from my point of view. But I may be wrong. I don't know what the thinking there, because everyone I speak to who tracks Reliance says that the moment the IPO comes in, the premium means you're talking of $330 billion of company and a Geo which is valued at $80 to $90 billion. अब उसका आपको वो तो होल्डिंग कंपनी डिस्काउंट तो आएगा ही आएगा ना रिलायंस पे. वो आप कितना करोगे, मतलब 10% तो नहीं होने वाला. द बेस्ट ऑफ द बेस्ट कंपनीज हैव 30% डिस्काउंट. Simple as that. So,
and everybody, I must say, Sajeet is being modest because I think everybody who tracks Reliance definitely talks to Sajeet. So I don't think there is a longer.
So everyone agrees that, but the point is that everyone is talking about an IPO. So I don't know what is the logic of an IPO at this point in time. If they need money, yes, but the money can be raised by a company as well. अभी JFS ने पैसा raise किया है ना, by giving warrants to the promoters. The same can be done here also. So that is a separate thing.
I think we should talk a bit loudly. Yesterday, a lot of feedback was that the voice is not coming in well. So a lot of people actually said, okay, why don't you move
because
back?
It's a newsroom.
Because it's a newsroom, so why don't you go back? So let's try and talk loudly.
No, understand.
वो सिर्फ पहला दिन था कि बहुत शांत था newsroom.
This is what a newsroom will be.
Yeah.
So maybe we need to move back to this thing. The other feedback was there's a lot of movement behind, but that's what a live newsroom is about. So we actually thought we'll bring the newsroom to your screens. And that's why this is
despite
bear with us
heavy
for a
rains,
few days.
and despite heavy rains, we have the entire team is here working.
Yeah. But more important,
not a single person took leave actually. Yeah. So which is
bear with us for a few days. Let's try and talk loudly and see if the audio improves.
Yes.
Yes. Okay. Aside of Reliance.
Yes. Bharti is also going on is up because of the tariff thing.
Yes.
Same. And I'm assuming the Vodafone will also be up because of that. The same thing actually. But anything else which is striking out? The China rare earth metal story, which is now playing out. Yeah. Yesterday's meeting with Jay Shankar was very good.
I think one of the papers reported, right, that China has lifted the curbs on rare earth exports to India.
Yeah, means the thing was that they wanted urea fertilizers curbs to be lifted. They wanted rare earth curbs to be lifted, and they wanted a little bit of in return they wanted some more India to lift some bit of investments. Which
does this go down in history as one of the worst policy mistakes that a sitting US president has done?
It does.
I know Fareed Zakaria has written.
I heard him actually on GPS saying that he has undone 25 years of US diplomacy.
And the worst policy mistake that Donald Trump could possibly do. And sorry, you're saying?
No, I mean, wouldn't you want to wait for this to play out and then see how and whether to judge it or not?
Signs, right? The telltale signs are that if China is saying that rare earth curbs utha raha hu, but China will also not do it unless there are some assurances, right?
Yes.
That they will get some access, they will do this, they'll do that, India will do this as well. So that having happened is happening because Donald Trump has pushed Brazil, Russia, India, China into a corner.
Correct.
True.
What is arguably not the best foreign policy.
But also one thing which we need to appreciate is that from the lows of Galwan, we have come a long way from there as far as China relationship is concerned. And China has also worked to ensure that that mutual trust building is there, and that's playing out now. You have the foreign minister here visiting here today. He's meeting Ajit Doval and the prime minister, and the prime minister will now going to China because there's a bilateral which is happening between India China on the sidelines of SCO meeting, where Putin will also be there. So we're going to have Putin, Xi and Modi together.
Wait for Lula to fly.
He already got a call, actually, by the way, from Xi and Putin both saying so. It seems that all four will be there, and Lula being the special invitee there. So So that's something which is going to play out, and US is going to watch that very closely.
And this
Because
is 40-45% of global population that we're talking about. So it's in no way a small market size.
Yeah, and I can understand.
Or something that US can ignore.
And also, I can understand if you're antagonizing somebody who's forever been your foe.
Yeah.
This is a country which has been on such great terms with you.
Yes.
And you've gone ahead and screwed that relationship. Anyways, so sorry, we were talking about rare earth exports. So I think the news story, viewers, is that maybe rare earth exports the curves have been lifted, and that would be very good for auto companies, EV battery companies, to a very small extent, maybe wind equipment companies, but they've said that they don't require it as much, and maybe some defense companies, right?
Yes.
That is true, but the impact is much more long drawn as compared to a short term impact kind of thing, which is there. Because I think there was a slight issue with respect to supply, but it wasn't completely off in that sense.
जोर से
मेरी आवाज इतनी है, बहुत नाजुक आवाज है. But we still are playing on the GST theme as we speak.
Yeah.
Because today, new durable companies are coming and saying that they're going to see practically a pause on, sales coming. I heard Booster speaking somewhere and saying that we're going to see sales going on a pause if government doesn't come out with the date of the GST or advances the date of GST.
This is going to be a problem.
This is Sajeet weaving in that मैंने बोला था कल.
No, but this is going to be a problem. It's obviously going to be a problem because I mean, if you're going to get an air conditioner at maybe 10% discount versus what you're buying it today, maybe a couple of months from now, you would delay the purchase. I mean, it makes no sense to buy it in the middle of rains when you can well buy it in the middle of October.
करो. बात करो आप. I'm listening to you.
So that's one.
The entire structure of GST is like that. अगर GST नहीं होता, and it was something else, you're reducing size or something on it, that would be a different thing. Today, what we do is that when there's a purchase happens, you pay a GST, and that GST has to be paid within 45 days to the government.
Yes.
Right? Now, that long period, you cannot hold that GST in anticipation कि GST rate कम होगा तो मेरे को मैं adjust कर लूँगा. वो नहीं होने वाला यहाँ पर, right? In that sense. So इसलिए वो purchases या inventories will come down, which is counter productive to the entire announcement in my view. अगर आप इतना लंबा खींच रहे हो 2 महीने के लिए, तो
there was 7.8% cut होगा.
किसमें?
In the eventual price of an aircon, if the GST comes down from 28% to 18%.
Okay.
7.8%, not 10%, because that 28 to 18 is on 100 plus 28 rupees GST. उसपे वो 10% cut होता है, so its actual price is down is 7.8%.
Yeah.
Now,
so 5 to 7% होगा.
So my question is that while Blue Star is saying this and they know the business better, I would love to get a dealer and talk to a dealer. We are trying to talk to a dealer today on India market close, or maybe tomorrow on India market open.
Do watch out.
Yeah. Just to understand that, do they believe that dealer plus company मिला के अगर 6% डिस्काउंट दे दे, पॉसिबल है कि नहीं मुझे पता नहीं. अगर 6% डिस्काउंट दे दे, देखो कार्स में तो पॉसिबल है, मुझे पता है. इसमें पॉसिबल है कि नहीं? अगर पॉसिबल है,
मैं तो बोलता नहीं है. आप जितना सेल्स करो,
नहीं होने वाला. You are. This is hypothesis on both your parts.
No,
we don't know.
If I was a buyer, I mean, of course, we don't know the math from a dealer perspective. I agree with you on that.
If you are a buyer,
but I'm a buyer. If I'm getting it for 7% lesser,
and that's what I'm saying, Baba. If you go to Vijay Sales right now, for example, and if Vijay Sales says कि post GST भाव जो 100 रुपए वाला है या 128 रुपए वाला है, वो 120 होना है. मैं अभी आपको 121 या 122 में दे रहा हूँ. क्या आप लोगे? Will you make
but there is also scope that once that new GST rate kicks in, you'll still get a 3-4% discount even
nobody
on that.
Will give. Why nobody will give? If I'm a dealer, I know people have waited for 3 months for the discount.
So there's an inventory build-up. There's an inventory build-up correspondingly.
No.
I'm just playing devil's advocate.
If there is an inventory build-up,
I'm telling you there's an inventory build-up. Am I wrong?
Then company का sale कम नहीं हो रहा है. Then company का primary sale हो रहा है. वो secondary sale retail level पे नहीं हो. Primary offtake तो हो रहा है ना.
Primary offtake नहीं होगा ना sir, because retail level पे sale नहीं हो रहा है.
तो inventory build-up हो रहा है.
Inventory build-up
से तो जा रहा है. तो कंपनी का तो दिखेगा ना सेल्स।
मैं-
ब्लू स्टार का
कम हो
sales
जाएगा सर,
कम, ब्लू स्टार
Impact
का
तो
सेल्स
होएगा।
कब होता है? व्हेन विजय सेल्स बाइज, राइट?
या
सिंपल है।
और
इधर वे
सर आके बोल रहा है कि पॉज होने वाला है,
मैं
तो
वही बोल रहा हूँ, आई वांट टू टॉक टू अ डीलर के डू द डीलर्स एंटिसिपेट दैट दे विल गिव डिस्काउंट्स टू पीपल। डीलर को भी तो चाहिए ना भाई।
नो, इट्स अ राइट एंगल,
आई एम
बट
नॉट सेइंग कि डिस्काउंट्स नहीं होंगे, नहीं होंगे। मैं ये कह रहा हूँ कि कंज्यूमर बिहेवियर ऐसा है कि हो सकता है कि 10 में से 5 बोलेंगे अच्छा नीरज करोगे, बेच रहे हो तो मैं खरीदूंगा, बट वो
मैं
बाकी
बोल रहा हूँ
5 होगा बोले नहीं नीरज तो बेचते रहे, मैं रेट कर
कंज्यूमर
दूं,
बिहेवियर
कर
ऐसा है कि अगर मुझे चाहिए मैं जाके बार्गेन करूंगा,
क्या मुझे
क्या करूंगी।
क्या मुझे मेरा सिंपल ये है कि अगर आज कंपनी और डीलर दोनों मिला के एडिशनल डिस्काउंट देके वो प्राइस पॉइंट में आते हैं तो, और या 1-2 रुपये ऊपर ऊपर
लेट्स डू अ पोल,
कर लो, लेट्स डू अ पोल।
10 ही मिनट है, बट
हाँ।
लेट्स डू अ पोल एंड द पोल क्वेश्चन इज दिस गाइस, दैट देयर आर टू सिनेरियोज। आप जीएसटी के बाद लेंगे
या जीएसटी
या
के पहले लेंगे।
अगर जीएसटी के पहले अगर आप डीलर के पास जाते हो और डीलर आपको ऑलमोस्ट इक्विवेलेंट डिस्काउंट देता है, ऑलमोस्ट इक्विवेलेंट, नॉट फुल्ली, ऑलमोस्ट इक्विवेलेंट 90% देता है, तो क्या आप अभी खरीदोगे अगर आपको अभी चाहिए तो? दैट्स द सिंपल पोल, लेट्स सी।
एंड
मोस्टली
जीएसटी के बाद भी तुम्हारे पास स्कोप है ऑफ
मैं डीलर हूं, मैं कोई डिस्काउंट नहीं देने वाला हूँ बॉस, सवाल ही नहीं है। If I know that people have waited for 3 months for the discount, why would I again give a discount? बाद में तो बोलूंगा ना मैं, आप मेरे पास बोलो बॉस डिस्काउंट दे दिया मैंने आपको, जीएसटी कम हो गया, इतने का था एसी अभी इतने में मिल रहा है। Anyways, what else?
और क्या, और आज की मार्केट बहुत ठंडा है, वॉल्यूम्स आर वेरी लो बिकॉज ऑफ रेन्स, एक्चुअली
बिकॉज ऑफ रेन्स,
ये क्या लॉजिक है?
बिकॉज ऑफ
I'm trying to say कि volume Mumbai volumes are anyway slow.
मुंबई वॉल्यूम्स
Simple as that.
people are working from home,
Yeah, I mean, पर उतना
so people should trade more.
they're not trading more. भजिया और चाय पी रहे हैं आके. But
अरे यार ऑफिस में समोसे मंगा रहे हैं,
हाँ,
चलो पर
और
नेक्स्ट।
समोसा बाकियों को नहीं खिलाएंगे हमें।
अभी सर क्या करें, अभी वर्चुअल तो मैं समोसा दे नहीं सकता हूँ स्क्रीन में।
सही है, सही है।
नेक्स्ट
जैसे 25,000 की तरफ भागे ना।
क्वेश्चंस ले,
Questions ले सकते हैं।
24992।
992 suddenly it's running up.
Let's take the questions while I order samosas on Zomato.
Yes.
We would like to have a live visual of newsroom in the background with no sound,
That's
while the BBB team discuss in a room which has better acoustics, similar to
Best
the
of both
interviews in Grand Slam tournaments. Begin, Dharan. You have created a benchmark for our producers, so producers, please comply.
और
We're
जैसे-
running the poll, by the way. We're running another poll as well. Will the Nifty hit 30,000 in 2026? This is आपके पार और उनके पार.
हाँ,
राजीव बत्रा के पास।
हम दोनों के पास
20% upside from here is what we're running. 38% of the people have already said a yes, by the way.
But so I must.
and no 62 नहीं बोला है, वो भी बोलो।
हाँ, तो वो तो obvious है ना सर अभी. Then the balance has to be a no, right?
So by the way, I need to clarify here that I think Rajiv Batra's comments have been taken slightly out of shape, out of context.
He's
saying,
assuming earnings growth.
no, he's saying the bull case is 30,000. He's saying the Nifty will trade in a range between 26,500 to 30,000. He's not saying 30,000 touch करेगा. Bull case 30,000 है, अगर सब कुछ राइट गया
और 26,500 में भी वो 21 टाइम्स कर रहा होगा, which is almost close to the long term average basically in that sense. That's last 2 years का average I think wrong, which is his view. begin आपका हमने ऑलरेडी बता दिया है प्रोड्यूसर्स को क्या करना है.
आज questions नहीं है because not too many people would have logged in today.
No, I think there are quite a few people logged in there.
तो सवाल कहाँ है? सवाल
I think producers हमें नहीं भेज रहे.
प्रोड्यूसर्स को
अरे
लाइक्स
लाइक्स चाहिए, लाइक तब तक नहीं आएंगे तब तक प्रोड्यूसर नहीं भेजते हमको.
प्रोड्यूसर्स भी बड़े ठीक है.
हाँ.
No, but so questions. I have a question. EMS stocks. We've seen them fall nearly 50% from the highs. एक चीज तो तय है, सेल या तो आज होने वाला है या तो in the next few months. You have seen Q1 sales muted. because of early monsoon or whatever you call it. Does that therefore mean that at least EMS stocks should short benefit?
So I was speaking to a wholesaler
Hmm.
जो normally pre-season booking करके retailers है उसको भेजते हैं. So the trend is that अभी जो summer season है उसका काम शुरू हो जाता है जनवरी में. Especially products wise, design wise, what is the kind of profile of product that will come into the market and everything. That work has already begun, and it began with the same expectation that last year बहुत demand था इसलिए वो. That came as a surprise for many of the EMS players which we were talking about, and we saw some of them talking about suddenly they have to cut the demand and everything which happened. आगे का जो है मतलब which is the winter season, which is November and December and January, these 3 months, उसका जो काम होता है वो शुरू हो जाता है जून में. So that work has already begun in that sense. Now the question is, while the summer demand has been very muted, all indications are that if GST also comes through and you have all the 3 cuts now coming in, rate cut, tax cut, GST cut, all 3 coming in, the demand will come in the later half of the year. That is it.
It's true.
It's true. So for them, the second half is likely to be much better than the first half, in my view. What is your view?
No, he's तो saying Q2 में ही demand आ जाएगा. That's what he's saying. So he's in fact being positive from that perspective.
You think
You don't even have to wait till H2. Q2 में ही आ जाएगा.
ये जो cautious note जो आ रहा है बाकियों से EMS place से, you think that they've been cautious, but it may
But
be.
they were cautious before this GST move happened. Now that this GST move has happened, see, I'm just thinking about it this way, right? That दूसरा ने बोला हो कि pause होगा भी वो एक बात है. But will they expect bumper demand? Let's assume I'm wrong and अभी demand नहीं आई. And let's assume you are both are right and demand GST के बाद आए. Diwali is October 21st, 22nd. Right? Will the companies expect bumper demand November, December, Jan, Feb? अभी उसमें तो हाँ बोलो आप पहले भी ना बोलो
नवंबर दिसंबर जैन फेब तो हो ही
मैं
जाएगा.
वही सोच रहा हूँ कि मैं कह रहा हूँ कि अक्टूबर में आना शुरू हो जाएगा.
चलो अक्टूबर. बट आप बोल रहे हो जीएसटी के बाद आएगा ना.
तो सितंबर में है ना जीएसटी.
अच्छा चलो तो अक्टूबर तो उसके लिए तो कंपनी अभी से ऑर्डर प्लेस कर देगा.
Exactly.
So therefore the US companies will get the order inflows right now only.
Yeah.
So anybody who's catering to that, Amber for example, which air conditioners के लिए, or somebody else who's making refrigerators,
EPAC, Symphony, whatever, and the like.
the Symphony तो कूलर खुद के लिए बनाता है. But
हाँ मतलब
the back end manufacturers, the EMS players, उनके लिए the demand starts now.
Geysers and electrical, fast moving electrical goods, वो सारे के सारे move करेंगे अच्छी तरह जो बना रहे हैं उनके लिए. So those are the things, those are the companies which you should be looking at actually.
Yeah. So that's the other set of names. And this
outside of this space, where should you place bets? Outside of auto and EMS.
Auto, EMS.
Sorry.
Consumer durables.
Consumer durables. Yeah.
Consumer durables, EMS, auto.
So
and FMCG.
Let's take a question because
Bajaj Finance भी कल भाग गया था on the back of this. That demand will be strong.
Well, Trump reduced tariff on India if peace deal goes through, and what will be the chemistry between Trump and Modi for the next 3 years?
That chemistry is difficult to predict.
Very difficult.
It's going to be volatile, I can say.
but 25% तो जाना चाहिए.
25% आज के डेट में चाइना पे तो नहीं डाल रहा हूँ, and India पे is keeping it despite the fact that he knows that it's an unfair 25%.
But he did mention, right, that if this goes through, we may not tax Russian oil buyers.
Yes. He spoke about, he said additional 25%.
Additional
25%. And that additional was supposed to come on China, which is not going to come.
No, additional on all Russian oil buyers.
So 25 तो हो गया ना, additional और कर रहा था ना post पे.
हाँ नहीं but अभी तो उसने वो बोला ना additional 25%.
So hopefully next 2 weeks में you get to know, right, when the trilateral happens between Trump, Putin and Zelenskyy, that happens, and you will be able to get some idea of it. But before that, August 27 will happen, and the 50% comes into play, which means our effective tax, which is taxed on imports or exports from India, will be 42%, which is the effective tax rate which is coming to them. So I think that would be this quarter is going to be a washout for many of the export companies in that sense.
So minus Pearl Global today.
Textiles पे ना.
Pearl Global ने बोला कि what we have been told by customers or US clients, for example, is that two things: can you ship to us from somewhere other than India? And if you have facilities in India, are you willing to take the risk of the additional 25% borne by you? Because we can't do it. Some textile companies might say yes.
Borne by you मतलब 50 में से 25%. 25 they are willing to do it.
जो additional 25% का penalty है.
हाँ. So 25 तो है ही ना.
So सुनो, point ये है कि the difference is what? Bangladesh, for example, 20%, India is 25% base case. ये 5% मैनेज हो जाएगा जैसे भी करते हैं. जो ऊपर का 25% है, which is the penalty. If the Indian supplier is willing to bear the penalty, then companies are willing to sign the contract right now. Right now, the US suppliers and the companies are negotiating. कि भाई वो कौन करेगा और अगर नहीं हो रहा है तो क्या आप किसी और लोकेशन पे हमें बेच सकते हो? Because much as we thought that US buyers easily go to other countries, वो इतना easily supply chain move करना possible नहीं. So right now they are negotiating. Pearl Global said that अगर मैं हाँ बोलूँ कि 25% मैं करने को तैयार तो कॉन्ट्रैक्ट अभी हो जाए. Implication था उसके कॉल. But they are all negotiating and they are hopeful that before the deadline expires, the 25% का जो additional penalty है वो चला जाए.
So basically you think that transshipment होना चाहिए.
नहीं, मैन्युफैक्चरिंग should happen from the other plant.
उनके अदर प्लान तो है ही नहीं ना.
नहीं, पर्ल ग्लोबल के पास 5 कंट्री में प्लांट है. और किसी गोकल ग्लास के पास भी 3 कंट्री में प्लांट है, इंक्लूडिंग अफ्रीका एंड आई थिंक इंक्लूडिंग बांग्लादेश.
अफ्रीका इज आल्सो इम्पोर्टेड.
पीडीएस के पास भी बांग्लादेश में प्लांट्स है.
सो देयर आर कंपनीज व्हिच हैव गॉट प्लांट्स एल्सवेयर. डिवर्सिफिकेशन किया हुआ है. सो उनके लिए यूएस को बेचना पॉसिबल होगा. आई थिंक व्हाट अ कंपनी विल हैव टू डू कि अगर मेरी सप्लाई चेन बैठ गई थी कि मैं तिरुपुर प्लांट से या कहीं और प्लांट से मैं भेज रहा था यूएस, if this doesn't get resolved, they might have to change it कि भाई मैं तिरुपुर प्लांट से अभी और ज्योग्राफीज को सर्विस करूंगा. यूएस के लिए मैं अफ्रीका प्लांट से या बांग्लादेश प्लांट.
बांग्लादेश इज नॉट
या तो फिर
I'll tell you why. Because India stopped the transshipment from Bangladesh, which basically means that you have to do all the cost which was reduced because they Bangladesh से इंडिया आके इंडिया से सीधा डेस्टिनेशन जाता था, वो बंद हो गया. इंडिया ने बंद कर दिया. So even if
that doesn't matter, अगर बांग्लादेश
it increases your cost of transport and everything.
अरे बांग्लादेश में मैन्युफैक्चरर्स तो यूएस बेचते ही है ना.
इंडिया के थ्रू बेचते थे. अभी वो पूरा शिपमेंट चेंज हो गया. So cost has increased multifold for many of them.
देखो आज जैसे कॉटन इंपोर्ट ड्यूटी कम किया है, वैसे गवर्नमेंट
शॉर्ट टर्म ना, सितंबर तक है ना.
But sorry, what is the logic of that? Why from Bangladesh, if it goes directly, shouldn't it be cheaper rather than it getting transshipped to India and thereafter going to the US?
See, the crossover is much better.
Got it. Okay.
The land crossover, and then otherwise you have to go all the way around Sri Lanka to that. So that increases the cost of shipping.
But maybe it is for Bangladesh companies, for Indian companies it might be ना.
नहीं होगा ना. India is blanketly closed for any transshipment from Bangladesh.
That is a problem.
So
I didn't know Bangladesh didn't have a port. Bangladesh
has a port, but that port logistics.
तो via आप बोल रहे हो कि जो okay, understood.
ये पक्की बात है.
ये तो because of that issues with Bangladesh it happened, right, a couple of months back.
तो इसमें logistics को भी पेन होगा.
वही तो मैं बोल रहा हूँ, logistics पेन है ना for Indian companies which have exposure to Bangladesh.
This is big. And sorry, maybe I don't have as much of a detailed study on this as possible. What's the scope of sending from India to the UAE and thereafter from the UAE onward?
Again, I was asking that.
No, not manufactured in India is the problem.
The problem is point of origin.
Correct.
Which is used, right?
So it doesn't matter whether.
Doesn't matter where.
और फिर तो सर ये 25% absorb करना almost impossible है. कैसे करेंगे कोई भी company? Then you have to rely on this getting reversed. Otherwise, textiles are in a soup, which is what largely the stated position has been industry-wide.
Okay, Begin Dharan has a question. Are Ola Electric, Wari Energies, Amara Raja competing with each other on for battery storage cells? Ola, Wari, Amara Raja, competing for battery storage cells. It's an area which is growing very fast.
Yeah, all of them are.
All of them are. Okay. Begin is another question on are things changing at the ground for all electric?
Seemingly, so a lot of people have bought into it, and
See the
lot of
price
smart
has
money is
gone up.
bought
No?
into it.
Price has gone up to 48, 49,
43.
43, no? 43.
A lot of people have bought into it, by the way. So keep that in mind.
But on the ground, I am not seeing the state. I am speaking to
उसने वो इंटरव्यू में समझने के इंटरव्यू में बोला है कि they are hoping to regain lost ground in quarter 2. Let's see.
क्वार्टर 2 में उतना अभी तक तो इससे
ये-
click नहीं आया.
एंड रेयर अर्थ का इशू उन लोग
Resolve हो रहा है.
उन लोग ट्राई
They're
कर रहे हैं
they're
bridge
going for
करने
ferrite
Correct.
magnets, right? Simple as that. Okay, Mrinal is asking. Parag Thakkar said that he is seeing companies shut and lay off in gems, textiles. Shouldn't we really worry about even the 25% tariff because India is
yes
being China +1 and part of global manufacturing is over.
yes
So I think, okay, if I'm not wrong, he mentioned this in context that promoters are shutting companies and becoming family offices. I think he mentioned that. I have a very different take on this, by the way. But let's assume that Parag Thakkar ने वही बोला, मेरे हिसाब से वही बोला. I'm actually not so worried about that because I have seen companies who have sold their businesses, promoters who have sold their businesses and started off family offices, actually give capital to a lot of very
Startups and everything.
capable entrepreneurs to set up businesses, and those businesses which are otherwise were not receiving capital are receiving capital and employing people. साइकिल में थोड़ा इधर उधर होगा, पूरा 100% कैपिटल वहां पे नहीं जाएगा, थोड़ा डेट मार्केट में जाएगा, बट रिमेंबर वो डेट मार्केट में भी जो कैपिटल जाता है दैट हेल्प्स
Private credit is something which is emerging.
इमर्जिंग इज वेल, और डेट कैपिटल भी उसके लिए जाता है. सो I mean, I personally have seen so many startups. You talk to a startup, availability of capital is now a real possibility. And why is that? A lot of it is that.
And a lot of
No, I
family
don't-
offices are now getting into private credit as well.
आप प्राइवेट कंपनी में पैसे डालते हैं, अगली कंपनी भी, और वो भी उनको मिल रहा है फॉर द लास्ट माइल थिंग, राइट? बट ये इट इज अ रियलिटी दैट even HNI investors who put in capital into private markets, they don't fund the entire 100%. They are coming in for the last 20%. पहला जो 80% है ना, वो ये risk capital से जाता है जो family office बनी आता है. A lot of very smart family offices. I mean, Catamaran, Premji Family Invest, they are as large as private equity firms now.
Yeah, Hinduja hai. There are
So
many
many.
among it, so many.
The Indian family office culture is thriving, and they are investing
The
smart.
second and third generation where they don't want to take up the family businesses and they're selling it off to private equity or strategic companies are using that money to set up family offices, and that family offices are now investing into these kind of entities.
So I had never thought of this angle. So this angle basically says that you have finite resources in the country, right? And the right allocation of those resources brings out the best in the country. So if for example your business isn't doing as well, or your future generation is not as interested in doing the business, you pull out, give it to someone more efficient to run it more efficiently. That's perfect capital allocation.
Yes.
Take in the capital, invest it elsewhere where you actually generate
More
even
return.
better returns with regard to where your capital is concerned. So both sides benefit.
And you give
Technically.
capital to an entrepreneur who can actually make a difference, hopefully. Not every startup will succeed, but you're giving a chance.
Yeah.
वहाँ पे एम्प्लॉयमेंट तो जनरेट हो ही रहा ना. एंटरप्रेन्योर तो एक है, उसके पास 10 एम्प्लॉय तो है,
Correct.
जो 2 साल के लिए 3 साल के लिए बनाएंगे. If the company succeeds, then forever. So I think it's a. I think there is a.
Vaibhav Sheth has a question. Is it just me or generally people's portfolio has plateaued out since last 1.5 years?
I don't know what. No, not 1.5 years. The last 4, 5, 6 months, 7, 8 months, yes. 1.5 years, a lot of money has been made.
September 12 months, sir. September 2025
Nifty
से लेते.
Nifty is plateau.
Yeah.
But a lot of sectors have made money. Yeah.
Yeah.
Nifty has underperformed
Rotational.
by a large margin against emerging markets. Actually,
आपने Nifty ETF खरीदा तो your portfolio is plateau.
Plateau.
No, it's not necessary.
Shashank, again, there's lots of question on Ola. Is Ola an ideal candidate for a turnaround like Zomato did from 40 to 300?
Wow.
So a lot of people have asked this also today in WhatsApp groups कि भाई मुझे किसी ने मैसेज भेजा वो स्नैपशॉट कि मेरे ग्रुप में बात हुई कि one very large maverick investor has bought 3.5 crore shares of Ola. मुझे पता नहीं है हुआ है कि नहीं हुआ है, but वो
But then you can text him. I know who your maverick investor is.
No, and that Maverick investor also made money in Zomato.
He's text worthy.
Same nahi hai. That completely different business model. Zomato created an industry. Virtually, Ola is fighting with incumbents. The journey will not be the same. But yeah, a lot of people have got into Ola that much.
Should we expect more reforms and maybe a rate cut over the medium term? One more rate cut by the end of the year? हम दो की बात कर रहे थे. I think Pranjul was talking about two.
Growth नहीं आएगा तो करना पड़ेगा.
Desperation बढ़ नहीं है. It just kind
Rate
of,
cut.
I don't know, yeah.
Rate cut और चाहिए.
My head, it's not sitting as well. But
Rate cut का या सजीत का प्रांजल का नाम invoking का desperation. Clearly बोलो.
The fact that we are desperately trying to egg the economy on in an otherwise very
What do you
tough
do? Yeah, but
macro and geopolitical environment.
All the stocks, right?
Yeah.
Yesterday, Prime Minister had a meeting with all the economists and his key economic ministers talking about new reforms or how to ease business. So clearly, the agenda is there, and there is a thought process in the government that you need to now bring in a little more to get that growth. If you're looking at 8 to 10% of growth over a longer period of time, simple as that.
Yeah.
So, good morning, guys. Good morning.
Last question, guys. 12:45.
Yes. Good morning, guys. With GST cuts, even autocoms will see benefits.
Yeah.
Both domestic and export oriented.
Export पता नहीं, but domestic for sure.
By the way, 30K Nifty 50 has become 50-50 now. 46 votes, 23 in favor of 30,000 Nifty by 2026 and 23 votes against.
28 तो हमने बोला है सजीत सर. अभी और 2000 पॉइंट आप कराते हो नहीं पता नहीं.
उसके लिए मोदी जी को कुछ काम करना पड़ेगा हमारे लिए. More reforms.
हमारे लिए आप ही करता
रहता. Last question. What is the market expectation of GST cut and shift from the government asking so that what would be the threshold below which market might reverse? Basically, you think about the bottom of the market, right?
हाँ बताओ.
I think the bottom of the market is 24. 24 एक बार आके जा चुका है. We are now hovering around 25 के आसपास. तो यहाँ से ऊपर जो है वो दो चीज से हो सकते हैं. या तो अर्निंग्स आएगा जो जस्टिफाई करे हाई वॉल्यूम या लिक्विडिटी. दोनों केस में मार्केट मेरे ख्याल से रहेगा. अगर अब रेट कट लोगे या टैक्स कट लोगे या जीएसटी कट लोगे, देयर मोर मनी कमिंग इनटू द हैंड्स ऑफ आर्मी. If they want to spend the money, consumption के लिए earnings will come. If they are not going to spend the money, then they will invest in markets and mutual funds. Then liquidity will come. दोनों केस में इंडेक्स वहीं पर रहने वाला मेरे हिसाब.
Okay. So 24, your.
नहीं 24 से नीचे नहीं जाने वाला.
I don't know about you. Hersh, you have a view?
Nope.
After GST
Nearly 50-50.
Nearly.
देखो मैं वही बोला था यार.
आधे लोग ले लेंगे पर आधे लोग वेट भी करेंगे सर. आप जिस सर्टेनिटी से बोल रहे थे वो सर्टेनिटी से
ये आधे लोग
जवाब नहीं आया.
गए ना और मेरे जैसा सेल्समैन रहा तो बिको नहीं यार.
क्लोन बना लो.
जैसे लोग क्या
क्लोन बना लो लगा दो चलेगा.
AI.
But I'm telling you, I'm just before we wrap up, I'm telling this only because I bought a vehicle exactly in the similar times. There was a price.
सर आपने 40 लाख की गाड़ी खरीदी.
सर वो सब छोड़ो ना यार. मैं
40 लाख की नहीं खरीदी.
मैंने भाई 2 लाख की खरीदी है. बस मैं बोल रहा हूँ कि the things were same that भाई ये आने वाला है, प्राइस घटने वाला है. उन्होंने बोला सर वो जो हो रहा है उसका ऑलमोस्ट इक्विवेलेंट मैं आपको अभी दे रहा हूँ, प्लस ये बेनिफिट दे रहा हूँ, ले लो. And when a buyer is going in after a lot of deliberation into a showroom to buy an asset, it can be an AC. Is the time that people bring in new stuff into their home.
That's true. दिवाली पे भी होता है.
वो तो peak है.
But that is assuming that you are able to pass on that benefit. That's the assumption.
Which is I'm saying. But today on India market close or tomorrow when we speak to a Vijay Sales or a Chroma or something.
Yeah, we'll have a better picture.
They are the best judges, right? We are not. Anyway, thank you guys.
Thank you guys.
And stay.
Have a good day. Yeah. Reach home safe if you're in Mumbai or any other part in the country which is rain affected. I hope nothing in the country is as bad as Mumbai right now. Touch wood. Bye.